acceptable in your sight, the Lord our strength and our Redeemer.
Amen.
For the last couple of weeks, as Jim pointed out in the sermon last week, the gospel has pointed us towards prayer. And you'll recall 2 weeks ago, we had prayers of thanksgiving. We all agreed that when things go well for us, we're invited to thank God for those things. And last week, we heard about how persistent prayer can sometimes pay off. Not because God gets, finally, you can break God down if you're just annoying enough, but by more of that, yeah, in prayer we're supposed to be persistent and perhaps even consistent in how we go about asking for things. And today we get to talk about praying for ourselves. How many of you actually pray for yourself? Okay, a few. 8 o'clock had a lot more. Saturday night, they wouldn't admit to it at all. Which I thought was kind of strange, because I said, if you take a parallel of love and prayer, we're supposed to love God, love neighbor, and love self. So we pray to God. We certainly pray for our neighbors. Why in the world would we not pray for ourselves? So I'm not saying don't pray for yourself. It's certainly nice to have other people praying for you. But you also ought to know what it is you want, what you need, or who you really are. And so Jesus holds up 2 examples for us in people who come to church to pray for themselves that day. And it's pretty obvious. There's one that we should be applauding, and one that if I held up a little sign, we could all hiss at the same time. Of course, the one that we should be applauding, his prayer is pretty simple. Have mercy on me, I'm a sinner. And that's probably not a bad place to start, because, as we all know, all of us are sinners at some level. And all of us should be thankful for the mercy of God, thanks to Jesus Christ giving us that access. But I also know that there are times that perhaps that Pharisee prayer comes out. Maybe not as a prayer so much, where you sort of list all the fantastic things you've done, as if God had no idea what you had been doing this week. And that's not to say that fasting is bad, or that tithing is bad, or having a consistent prayer life, or doing good things for people is a bad thing. Those are all wonderful things. But the moment you have to remind God about all the great things you've done to a God to whom all hearts are open, all desires known, and from whom no secrets are hid, it seems to me kind of silly. God already knows the great things that you've done. I'd like to go out on a limb and say he's probably even pleased by the good things you have done. But the only reason you're rehearsing these things in your prayer life is because you're maybe afraid God hasn't actually noticed them. And then you have to go find somebody else to compare yourself with. Then we're getting into a very difficult place, a place that Jesus is warning us, don't go there. I have a feeling, though, that most of us have a hard time occasionally not comparing ourselves to other people. I know for me, it's not how much greater I am than anybody else. It's usually, unfortunately, the reverse. If only I could be as good a priest as Father so-and-so or Mother so-and-so. If only my lawn looked as good as my neighbor's. Of course, one would say that would involve an effort. But the reality being that if I can be happy with what I can do, and not worry about comparing myself with what anybody else, how successful they are, or in the case of the Pharisee, thank God I'm not like those people. Maybe there's another thing Jesus is asking us to consider. Do you have people for whom they are those people? Are there folks that you say, I'm so happy I'm not like them? Maybe a question that in prayer, when you're doing that self-examination, say, what's that about? Why do you feel a need to have those people that you bring up? How about going back to being more like the tax collector? Just be merciful to me. So I would say that perhaps what we need to look at is, when we come in prayer, we do so with the needs that God already knows. I think I've said before that to me, what I pray for, it's not that God doesn't know that I need them or want them, but perhaps how persistent am I willing to be with them things to me. The things that I hold in prayer deep in my heart are important. That's why I pray about it. But I know this, that I'd like to be able to let go of those kind of comparison moments. I don't feel good about myself. Usually I'm comparing when I'm feeling like a failure. But I know that Jesus said that the one that went home justified was the one that just didn't look up and didn't look left or right to see what everybody else was doing and who else was there. He seemed to have a little more confidence that, in fact, God was paying attention to what he was doing. Otherwise, he probably would not have said, "Have mercy on me." I'm not so sure about the Pharisee. I'm not so sure about folks who constantly need God to notice them in very specific ways. What does that say about, what do you think about God if you need to call attention all the time to all the good things you're doing? You should do the good things, no doubt about it. But you've already been given the grace and reward for them. To keep doing them because of your relationship with Christ is all that needs to be said. When we do those things, we don't need to remind God about them. There's no scorecard being kept. There's no, wow, you're going to get more gold stars and perhaps an extra bonus reward when you get to heaven. It doesn't work that way. But instead what you get is, have you maintained that relationship? Have you been honest about not only the good things that you do, but the times when you don't quite get it right? And when you can have that kind of honesty in front of God, my hunch is he pays a lot more attention to it. Amen.